Podcast, wir wollen nur Leon Head und zurück zu einem neuen The House. Fata Morgana, Requiem for Innocence. Let's Play. Ja, meine lieben Freunde, wie ihr sehen könnt, sind wir.
Let's Play angelangt.
Ja. Okay, schreiben wir das so. Ich weiß gerade nicht, wie man das schreibt. So?
Ja.
Ja, Freunde, wir sind im zweiten Let's Play angelangt. Letztes Mal haben wir mit dem Clipping aufgehört. Das Duell hat gerade begonnen zwischen Gretchen und Jacopo. Wer gewinnt, das werden wir jetzt sehen. Let's go.
Try not to go down in one blow, kid.
Hold on, what's the point of this? Slowly, Gretchen lowered into a crouch, and the next second he leapt at me like a tiger. There was an audible swoosh, and before I even had time to guess, he was mere inches away. What choice do I have? Yo. I swung my sword up, catching Gretchen's blade mid-descent and attempting a parry, but there was far more weight in his strike than I had expected. The impact caused my hands to sting painfully and my knees to buckle. I clenched my teeth, trying, at the very least, to hold my ground. Gretchen barely gave me the time to recover, let alone strike back, before launching into a second attack. He handled the longsword so effortlessly, swinging it through the air in such impressive, perfect arcs that I could hardly believe we were both using the same weapon. Glaze. I twisted out of the way, but not quite in time. The tip of his blade skimmed the skin of my neck. And then, not even giving me a chance to catch my balance, he thrust his blade at me. While I managed to deflect the attack just in time, I wasn't able to follow through. Meanwhile, a wide, mocking smirk spread across Gretchen's face. He seemed to be having the time of his life.
Come on, kid. You're gonna have to do better than that if you wanna keep your head.
Grrr. I rattled off several insults in my head, but unlike him, I couldn't spare the energy to put them into words.
Pick it up, boy. Pick it up.
Das wäre so viel geiler, so. Grrr. Sowas wäre so viel geiler animiert, so.
Ja, klar.
Beiden. Ha. 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 God damn.
That's all you got, kid? I thought you'd fare a little better.
Shut your damn mouth! I was struck on the defensive, and with every strike he pushed me farther and farther back. I was almost up against the wall. I thought he said this was part of some plan. Or was he just trying to get me to let my guard down? He's conspiring with the Lord. He must be. Why challenge me to a duel, though? Did someone spill a word of the plan to him?
Come on. Come on. Give me your best shot, boy.
Grrr. Yes, very. Oh shit. Very funny. You know damn well I'm already managing. I'm barely managing as it is.
You gotta at least try. Don't wanna put our audience to sleep now, do we?
Grrr. Even the bones in my forearms are starting to sting. I don't know how much longer I can keep this up.
Here, let me show you how it's done.
Grrr. God, I can't get a damn inch on him. Much more of this, and I'll be up against the wall. I'm dead if I don't go on the offensive. Now's my last chance, but I've still got breathing room. Hey, big guy, you may think you have the advantage, but not for long.
Ah, that's rich. Coming from a guy who can't even get one swing in on me.
Was all a trick to get your guard down. Yeah, son bluff. I've been saving this one just for you, meathead. It's a super attack, so Kamehameha. Good luck dodging it with that hulking body of yours.
Now that's more like it. Let me have it, kid.
I hopped back with a couple paces until my heel was pressed up against the wall. There was no backing down, not anymore. Breathing heavily, I lifted my blade, pointing it at Requiem. He pointed his in return, a cocky grin plastered on his face, and then I kicked off the ground hard, sending me flying toward him. My sword held down near my waist, hiss above his head, and then whoosh! He whiffed, his blade ripping through the air just over my head. The mad force of the gale created by his swing was so intense. For a brief moment I thought he might have knocked my head clean off my shoulders. But I was still breathing. And despite the exhaustion, my mind was incredibly clear and focused. I hadn't swung up at him, but slid across the floor. Your bag's wide open. I lurched to my feet, spinning around, and swung my sword at his neck with everything I had. Yeah. What? But my would-be grand comeback was deflected from behind without a bat of an eye, and hardly a wimpy deflect for that matter. My hands felt like they were on fire. But they were absent.
Little bit on the dirty side that was. But hey, not half bad, kid.
Damn it.
Just a little more oomph to that spring and you might have landed it. Too bad. Too bad.
I don't stand a chance against him head on, but he's not one to fall for the same trick twice. Need a new plan.
Back against the wall with ya.
Son of a bitch! Steht jetzt noch nicht dabei.
Son of a bitch!
Ja, das vergessen noch.
Nee, Joseph.
Grrrr! Dann Tomokazu Sugita.
What's the matter, kid? That's all you got? After all that talk, I was expecting a little more from you.
Grrrr. He's got me completely under his thumb. I'm dead if I don't do something, but I can barely lift my arms anymore. It's getting harder to breathe. My vision is going blurry. I can't die yet. Not here. No. And not to this damn brute. There has to be something. An opening I'm not seeing. Anything. Some way to turn the tables. Am I imagining it, or did I react to that quicker than usual? Is he doing what I think he's doing? Also macht leichter. Oder macht immer die gleichen Sachen. Patterns were forming in my mind. I'd been through this routine so many times now, my body instinctively knew what came next. I parried his strike entirely by reflex. I wasn't so full of myself as to think it was a sign I was gaining the upper hand. As much as I loathed to admit it, he had every imaginable advantage over me. I should have realized what he was doing sooner. But I've been so focused on keeping my head attached and my sword in my hands that I didn't have the spare mental capacity to see beyond that. He was in complete control. The only reason I was able to keep up with him was because he was letting me. Because he was repeating the same sequence of attacks again and again. If I'm right, then next, he come from above.
Oh, but then anyone kind of pattern break.
Yeah.
What must have been Absicht?
Yeah.
Ho ho ho!
Right on the money. A clang like the pealing of a bell echoed through the hall as our blades collided. It was a much cleaner, more satisfying sound than they had made when I was struggling to keep up. I still don't know what he's scheming, but I'm not going to throw away this chance to win back some ground. Sparks flew with each clash of our swords, and Gratian's smoke grew wider. I could hear murmuring bubble up in the gallery as the tides turned. Fearing casting confused gasp. But before long the sound seemed to grow distant. It was just me and Gratian in a bubble of silence. Not even the sound of metal striking metal. Ah! My heavy breathing. The stomping of our feet. The distractingly loud pounding of my heart. Blood pumping through my veins. It all whisked away into nothing. Every one of my senses were focused on exactly two things. The image of our swords cutting clear arcs through the air, arcs, and Gratian's intent.
That's it. Next overhead.
He whispered so quietly that by all rights I could never have heard it, but his intentions came through loud and clear. As if being controlled by that voice, I swung my sword down. After about half dozen such classes, we locked blades and had a brief shoving match before putting a little distance between each other. Yeah.
We looked.
And then we went at it again. To the audience, it would have looked like a fierce battle to the death, but I felt more like we were dancing than anything. Yeah, dancing. While he was dancing, I was merely following his lead. But if that was his plan, whatever his plan was, I had no choice but to dance to his beat. The only thing improvisation would get me is a sword through the heart. Meanwhile, sticking to the plan, I had nothing to worry about, no reason to fear his sword might go off course. After several more clashes, we got in close again. We were both breathing pretty heavily by that point. I was drenched in sweat, and it felt like I'd collapse right then and there if I loosened up for even a second. Gratian tossed a glance off to the side for the briefest of moments, um so die Erections zu schauen. His lips came together, curling up into a smile.
Listen up. 3 paces back, then charge. Swing down as hard as you can. Put everything you've got into it.
As soon as I signaled my acknowledgement, Gretchen parried my sword off to the side. 1, 2, 3 paces back. Then I gathered my strength into my legs. I crouched like he had at the beginning of the duel, envisioning myself as a tiger ready to pounce. And then we leapt at each other in perfect sync. Das ist hier wie so Star Wars.
Fight-Choreografie mit Hugh McGregor und Tate.
What? Oh mein Gott, sind jetzt beide Schwerter kaputt gegangen, weil die so scheiße waren. The harsh sound of metal striking metal, more piercing than anything else up to that point. For a heartbeat, the world went wide. Then the whoosh of something ripping through the air.
Ja, der Sound.
Oder weggeflogen. Nicht unbedingt zerbrochen. It wasn't for another second or two that I realized what had happened.
Ich glaub schon.
Breathing heavily, I looked down at the sword in my hands, only to find half of it missing. Yeah. Grace's blade appeared to have snapped as well. Digga, er hat alles so geplaut.
Ja, krass.
Eisen.
Krass von
Great hit. The gallery began buzzing.
Are you alright? How dreadfully dangerous. Heh.
It's cake. A perverse grin spread across Gretchen's lips. I finally understood what he had been scheming. He wanted the swords to break, and he wanted it to look like an accident, hoping that when the scattered blades went flying, shattered blades went flying, a noble or two would be caught in the crossfire. Guy. That explained the whole song and dance, why he had us hitting each other's blades in the same spots again and again. But how the hell would you ever expect that to work? Ha, ha, ha. That said, if this fight had gone on much longer, I don't think I would have lasted. His plan seems to have gone about as well as you could reasonably expect. One piece landed near Barnier and the other embedded in a table.
The one piece.
It's fine by me. I'd rather avoid causing any more of a scene before the usual revolt.
Actual revolt.
Oh, oops. Yeah, not that I would be opposed to seeing any of these madmen skewered. Gratien wiped the sweat from his brow with the back of his hand and surveyed the room. It's obviously outclassed as he was by all the nobles. He still seemed much larger than anyone else in the room. He took a few moments to catch his breath, then sauntered over to the center of the great hall, taking another good look around the room before saying,
Apologies for the disturbance, my lord. While ordinarily a duel's supposed to end with someone dead, it looks like that's out of the question today. So mayhap we can reschedule. Put in another show in a day or two if you would like.
Barnier seemed less than pleased with the outcome, but considering how rattled his guests were, he couldn't press the matter either.
Very well. No, I believe you two deserve a reward for such a fine show. Oh, what kind of reward? One I'm sure you'll be quite pleased with. The leftovers from today's feast. Gourmet cuisine, the likes of which you mere slaves could only dream of getting your dirty hands on.
Jetzt teilen sie so mit allen Slaves.
You mean those bleeding scraps of mystery meat? Ha! Worry not. There's pork in there. Or does your religion prohibit you from eating pig? Nah, I gave up on religion long ago. I'm fine with eating meat. Most meat, anyway.
Mention meat.
I'll have the other slaves bring it down this evening, then. Now the show's over. Be gone with you.
Whoosh, whoosh.
Gone we be, my lord.
I'm still concerned about that girl, but there's nothing I can do for her right now. Ich dachte, du kannst sie in ein Observation Tower einspielen. Nein, no. Hopefully she lasts long enough for her to revolt, but with wounds like that...
Hey, Kate. Pick your beat ass up and let's get out of here.
I'm not beat. Thank you very much.
Who are you trying to fool when you're wheezing out the lung? Getting huffy about it only makes you look more pathetic.
Piss off, you inhuman monster.
Ha 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 ha. Now, do have a wonderful day, ladies and gents.
Once we were out of the hall, in the corridor, I took several deep breaths, finally letting loose some of the tension that had built up within me. Ich will wieder atmen. As we made our way through the corridors, the sound of nobles laughing and chattering away amongst themselves faded into nothing. Where the slaves without assignments were kept.
Hogwarts vibes ja auch.
What?
Hogwarts vibes ja auch.
In a sense, it was a human closet. I looked up at Requiem, who was standing beside me. I had about a dozen things I wanted to say to him, but I couldn't organize my thoughts into words. So I simply shrugged and pursed my lips.
Och en försök på positiv.
Yeah, that was a shame.
Huh? What was a shame?
You were hoping to kill at least one noble when the sword broke, weren't you?
Haha, if only. I'm not that skilled, hell no.
You could have fooled me.
If anything, I'd say we're lucky it went as well as it did, yeah? From the Spider Glides equation, nichts eine.
Yeah.
It's a damn good thing they gave us their old crusty swords, or we'd never manage to break him at all.
If not to skewer one of the nobles, then why go to such lengths at all?
To protect you also. Yeah. Well, because otherwise we'd have had to fight to the death, of course.
No, that's not what I'm...
Of course, we both know who'd be standing here then.
As much as I hate to admit it, he has me beat in almost every category. For God's sake, how did he even get that good with a sword? Is it hereditary or something? What I'm trying to figure out is what your ultimate objective was in this whole crusade. Why challenge me to the duel at all?
You're planning a revolt, aren't you, kid?
What does that have to do with anything?
Just answer the question. Das Einzige, was wir ausbrüten.
Das ist ein Ei. Sonst fällt er direkt auf dem Ei. Denying it will only delay the inevitable. Inevitable.
Was Thanos sagte.
Hä?
Was Thanos sagt.
So no point in that. And I'm fairly certain he's not on the Lord's side, at least. If he was just trying to win the Lord's favor, I can't imagine the duel would have ended the way it did. I can probably trust him. Yes, I am. And I need the other slaves' help to put it off.
But the little drones have been sucked all their fight, and you can't get anyone on board.
Why even ask the question if you already know the answer?
Hey now, no need for the lip, kid. I brought it up because I'm trying to tell you I'm in.
You're in?
Your prison break arc.
Hmm. Excuse me? What about anything you've done today would make me think you're in?
Bear with me for a second and put yourselves in the other slaves' places. Some dick they've never met before shows up out of the blue saying, I've organized it. I've organized to have you all set free, and I need your help to do it.
Ach, er betet sie jetzt mit dem Essen, oder was?
You think they're gonna buy into it?
Fair enough. But it's true that I have people outside.
Don't matter. You could be lying through your teeth and it wouldn't change a damn thing. All that matters is whether they think you're worth getting them behind.
I see your point. These slaves have been driven into the very depths of despair. They need someone charismatic enough to pull them out of that pit before they can be sparked to take any sort of action. Before infiltrating, I imagine it would be much simpler. It would seem that it was rather naive of me.
That was a whole lot of words to say the same thing I just said. Waffling that basically. Forget your fancy metaphors. It all boils down to this. Do they think you have a chance of pulling it off? Yes or no? These people, they don't get the energy to get all philosophical. They go with their gut. And the quickest way to their guts, was du das?
Ja, Essen.
Show them you're strong.
Ja, das auch, I guess. Ah, now I'm starting to understand what the duel was for. The other slaves already know of your powers. Prowess. So if I were to fight on the same level as you... sprichst du so rum.
Then they'd be willing to hear you out, exactly.
Ah.
Oh there, kid. Why the sigh? You're trying to blow this place down?
You could have easily accomplished it without putting on a damn show in front of the Lord and putting my life in danger.
It wasn't just for the other slaves, kid.
What do you mean?
I wanted to make sure you weren't some yellow-bellied pissant. That you're actually capable of doing what you promise. And now that I know you've got a semi-functional spine, I'm willing to help out with the revolt.
Semi-functional? Huh? Well, I'm glad I didn't disappoint you then. Given my performance back there, I couldn't blame you if you deemed me beyond hope.
Give yourself a little more credit, kid. While I'm pretty sure the stories about my ancestors being gladiators are exaggerated, I did participate in a few death games myself back before I ended up here. You should consider it a badge of honor that you fought a brute like me and lived to tell the tale.
I was under the impression the church put an end to gladiatorial games.
Alright. It went underground. The rules may change, but not people. Always a market for blood sports. Then yada yada. I got sold to the Lord and here I am.
That probably explains what he meant when he said he had given up on religion.
So what's your story, kid? My money's from some rich aristocrat. What got in his head? He wanted to play a hero and stop the big bad lord from being mean to slaves.
What the hell gave you that idea?
You strike me as more a pretty rich boy than a ruffian is all.
A pretty rich boy? I come from the slums. So no, I'm not just some upper class punk playing hero, aber ja, vielleicht schon.
That a fact? Well, color me surprised. You sure don't talk or act like any of the slum boys I know.
It's probably because...
Hmm?
Nothing.
And now I'm even more curious, damn it.
Honestly, it's not that interesting, I promise. Forget I said anything, ja? Erzähl's doch einfach! Oh, it's because I want to be able to blend in when I eventually leave the slums. But he doesn't need to know that. I only just met him.
Whatever you say then. That case, how about we do some proper introductions, huh? Name's Requiem, which you should already know. Nice meeting you, kid.
Jacopo Buccerotti, when ich in der Zeit. I'm very glad to have your support, Gratien.
Configuration, like an account. Don't mention it. I've been wanting to make the scumbags eat dirt myself, and this is the perfect chance. Alright, one more thing I wanted to ask.
What?
How old are you?
Excuse me, is that relevant to anything?
Jeez, kid, weißt du, wie alt ist? Weiß nicht. Jeez, kid, someone really needs to teach you how to shut up and answer a simple question.
22, glaube ich. Aber I'm 19, ja eben. Weil Morgana hier 3 Jahre war, das heißt Morgana ist hier 9. Und er ist 19, dann ist er 22 und dann war 4 Jahre Skip.
Okay. Oh, thank God, I'm 20. Ich wollte sagen, no, I don't have to feel like an ass for calling you a kid.
I'm only a year younger, that hardly makes me a kid.
A year is a long time, kid. Now that I've got that off my shoulders, I can put all into my helping with your revolt.
I'm starting to wonder if I even want this guy's help. So, Freunde, an der Stelle würde ich sagen, beenden wir das Let's Play. Cooler Fight so, sie haben zusammen gekämpft, wir haben unseren ersten Typen für die Revolte geholt, Gratien. Ja, Freunde, dann würde ich sagen, nehmt den Like mit auseinander, passt jetzt den Streams ab, hat gebockt und ja, wieder schauen und
Bingo.
ciao.